A little girl said to a lonely millionaire CEO, "Sir, that ring looks like Mommy's." Then the truth changed everything. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime, and Marcus Blackwood stepped into the marble lobby of his downtown office building, his $10,000 Armani suit pristine as always. At 38, he was the youngest CEO in the Fortune 500, worth over $2 billion and utterly alone. His reflection in the polished floor showed a man who had everything money could buy, except the one thing his heart desperately craved: a family to come home to. If you're already hooked by this story, please show your support for Trillionaire in Love by hitting that like button, sharing this video with someone who needs to hear this message, commenting below with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing stories like this one. As Marcus hurried toward his private car, his phone buzzed incessantly with urgent business calls. He barely noticed the small figure sitting alone on the building's front steps, until a tiny voice pierced through his corporate armor. "Excuse me, sir." The voice was soft, almost whisper-like. Marcus looked down to see a little girl, no more than 7 years old, with tangled brown hair and tear-stained cheeks. Her clothes were clean but clearly second-hand, and she clutched a worn teddy bear against her chest. But what stopped Marcus cold wasn't her appearance. It was her eyes. They held a depth of sadness that reminded him painfully of his own childhood. "Sir, that ring looks like Mommy's," she said, pointing to the platinum band on his right hand. A ring he'd worn every day for 20 years, though he'd never told anyone its significance. Marcus's world tilted. His hand instinctively covered the ring, his heart pounding. "What did you say?" "Your ring. It has the same flower pattern as Mommy's. She used to wear it before the angels took her away." The little girl's voice trembled, and fresh tears began to fall. Something deep inside Marcus cracked open. He knelt down to her level, his expensive suit forgotten. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Emma Rodriguez." She wiped her nose with the back of her small hand. "I'm waiting for someone from the foster place to pick me up. They said someone would come, but it's getting dark." Marcus felt his chest tighten. Foster care. The words transported him back to his own childhood, the endless cycle of homes, the feeling of never belonging anywhere, the desperate wish for someone, anyone, to choose him. "How long have you been waiting here?" "Since this morning. The lady at the last house said I was too much trouble. She gave me some money and told me to wait here because it's safe." Emma's matter-of-fact tone broke something in Marcus's heart. Without thinking, Marcus sat down on the cold steps beside her. For the first time in decades, his business calls went unanswered. "This ring belonged to someone very special to me," he said softly, looking at the platinum band. "Her name was Elena Rodriguez." Emma's eyes widened. "Rodriguez is my mommy's name too, but her name was Elena Maria Rodriguez." The world seemed to stop spinning. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. "Emma, what was your mother's maiden name?" "Maiden name?" Emma looked confused. "Her name before she got married." "Oh, Mommy said her name used to be Elena Vasquez. She showed me pictures of when she was little, and she lived in a big house with lots of other kids. She said she had a best friend there named Marcus who promised to marry her someday." Emma's innocent words hit Marcus like lightning. 25 years melted away in an instant. Elena Vasquez, his Elena from Sacred Heart Children's Home. The girl who had held his hand during thunderstorms, who had shared her dessert when he was hungry, who had promised they would find each other again when they aged out of the system. The girl who had given him this very ring on his 18th birthday, made from a cheap mood ring she'd saved for months to buy. She said he was the only family she ever had, but they lost each other when she got adopted by a family far away. Emma continued, studying Marcus's face. "Mommy always wondered what happened to him. She kept looking for him until she got sick." Marcus's hands were shaking now. "Emma, what happened to your mother?" "The doctor said her heart was broken. She tried really hard to get better, but sometimes grown-up hearts just stop working. Before she went to heaven, she told me that if I ever met someone with a ring like hers, they might be family." Emma reached into her pocket and pulled out a chain with a small tarnished mood ring. She said this was a promise ring from her best friend. Marcus stared at the matching ring, his vision blurring with tears he hadn't shed in 20 years. Elena had kept his promise ring all these years, through marriage, through motherhood, through her final battle. And now her daughter, their daughter in every way that mattered, was alone in the world just as they had been. The challenges that followed seemed insurmountable at first. The foster care system was a labyrinth of red tape and bureaucracy. Social workers questioned why a billionaire bachelor suddenly wanted to adopt a child he'd just met. Background checks, home studies, psychological evaluations. Every step felt like another wall between Marcus and the family he'd found. Emma was placed in a temporary foster home while the process dragged on for months. Marcus visited every day that regulations allowed, bringing books, toys, and most importantly, stories about Elena. He told Emma about her mother's infectious laugh, her stubborn determination, her fierce loyalty. In return, Emma shared memories of Elena's bedtime stories, her homemade pancakes shaped like hearts, her brave smile even when the medical bills piled up and her heart grew weaker. The legal battles were fierce. Marcus's business competitors saw his sudden desire for fatherhood as a weakness to exploit. Stock prices fluctuated with every tabloid headline. Billionaire's midlife crisis and CEO's adoption stunt screamed from magazine covers. His board of directors questioned his focus and judgment. But Marcus had found something worth fighting for that was bigger than profit margins and quarterly reports. Every night, he would look at Elena's ring and remember the scared boy he used to be. The one who had promised a scared little girl that they would always have each other. He hadn't been able to keep that promise then, but he wouldn't fail Elena's daughter now. The darkest moment came when Emma's temporary foster family decided they wanted to adopt her themselves. They argued that a stable home with two parents was better than an uncertain future with a workaholic bachelor. Marcus faced the possibility of losing Emma forever, just as he had lost Elena. That night, Marcus sat in his empty penthouse, surrounded by all the trappings of success that suddenly felt meaningless. He thought about giving up, about accepting that maybe he wasn't meant to be a father. But then he remembered Elena's last letter, which Emma had shown him. A letter Elena had written to her daughter before she died. "My dearest Emma," the letter read, "if something happens to me, remember that love is the only currency that truly matters. Find people who choose you not because they have to, but because their heart tells them to. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who would move mountains to keep you safe. I know in my heart that somewhere out there is someone who will love you the way you deserve to be loved." Those words gave Marcus the strength to keep fighting. He hired the best family lawyers money could buy, not to intimidate, but to ensure every step was handled properly. He restructured his entire company, delegating responsibilities and creating a work-life balance he'd never thought possible. He transformed his sterile penthouse into a warm home, complete with a princess-themed bedroom and a library filled with all of Elena's favorite childhood stories. Most importantly, Marcus opened his heart completely. During supervised visits, he taught Emma to ride a bike in Central Park. He learned to braid her hair and make her favorite grilled cheese sandwiches cut into heart shapes, just like Elena used to do. He attended every school play, every parent-teacher conference, every moment that Emma's previous foster families had seen as obligations. The breakthrough came when Emma was asked by the family court judge what she wanted. Standing in that imposing courtroom, this brave 7-year-old looked up at the judge and said, "I want to be with Marcus. He tells me stories about Mommy, and when I have nightmares, he sings the same song she used to sing. He keeps his promises, just like Mommy said family should do." 18 months after that first meeting on the courthouse steps, Marcus Blackwood officially became Emma Rodriguez Blackwood's father. The adoption ceremony was small, just Marcus, Emma, their lawyer, and a handful of close friends. But when the judge declared them officially father and daughter, Marcus felt a completeness he had never experienced before. As they walked out of the courthouse together, Emma slipped her small hand into his. "Daddy," she said, a word that never failed to make his heart soar. "I think Mommy sent you to me." Marcus squeezed her hand gently. "No, sweetheart, I think she sent us to each other." 5 years later, Marcus Blackwood was still a successful CEO, but his priorities had completely transformed. His office was filled with Emma's artwork, and he never missed a school event or bedtime story. He had learned that true wealth wasn't measured in dollars, but in moments. Emma's laughter echoing through their home, her excited chatter about school, her sleepy hugs before bed. Emma, now 12, had grown into a confident, loving girl who spoke frequently to school groups about adoption and foster care. She kept Elena's ring on a chain around her neck, right next to a new heart-shaped locket that Marcus had given her on her first adoption anniversary. The ring that had brought them together now sat in a place of honor on Emma's dresser, next to a photo of Elena, and a newer photo of their small but perfect family. Sometimes Marcus would catch Emma talking to her mother's picture, telling Elena about her day, her dreams, her dad who loved her beyond measure. Marcus had learned that some promises take a lifetime to keep, but they're worth every moment of the wait. He had promised Elena they would be family forever, and though life had taken them on different paths, that promise had ultimately led him to the greatest love of his life, Elena's daughter, who carried her mother's spirit and had taught him that family isn't about blood or genetics. It's about showing up. It's about choosing each other every single day. It's about love that transcends time, loss, and circumstances to create something beautiful and lasting. This story of unexpected family and the power of keeping promises shows us that sometimes the most important meetings happen when we least expect them. Love has a way of finding us, even in our darkest moments, and transforming everything. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a comment sharing your own story of unexpected family or second chances, and subscribe to Trillionaire in Love for more inspiring stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Your support helps us bring these meaningful messages to more people who need to hear them.